right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unpack a super practical toolkit for building some serious inner strength, and it's all drawn from ancient Stoic wisdom.
So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel kind of like a puppet, Like you're just being pulled around by the strings of your own emotions, or even worse, by what other people do?
It often feels like there's this direct, unbreakable link between what happens to us and how we feel inside, right? Someone cuts you off in traffic and boom, your whole mood is shot. We react, we explode, or maybe we just shut down.
But what if I told you there's a time-tested, mental operating system that's literally designed to snap those strings? Well, that's exactly what Stoicism offers. Let's get into how it actually works.
Okay, so it all starts with this one big idea. The real battle isn't with the world outside. It's happening inside your own mind. That's the place where you decide what everything means.
And nobody said it better than the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. See, true power isn't about trying to control all the chaotic events out there. It's about mastering the one thing you actually truly own, your mind's response to them.
So let's get practical. Rule number 1 is all about building what the Stoics might call an inner fortress, a mindset so solid that outside events, they just can't breach its walls. They just bounce right off. Now, here's the absolute game changer, what they call the Stoic judgment. The idea is that what disturbs us isn't the event itself. It's our interpretation of it. The events themselves, they're neutral. Not good, not bad. They just are. Seriously, think about it for a second. A traffic jam is just cars on a road. An insult is just words floating in the air. It's the story we tell ourselves about these things, that angry voice in our heads that creates all the frustration and pain. So how do you actually do this? Well, here's a simple 3-step process to get a handle on that inner voice. First, you've got to catch that initial negative thought. Just see it for what it is, a judgment, not a fact. Second, replace it. Don't just let it loop in your head. And finally, speak to yourself like a calm, rational guide, not like some harsh critic. All right, so once you start shoring up that inner world, you can totally change how you engage with the outer world. And this isn't about controlling it, it's about being prepared for it. You know, this quote from Marcus Aurelius might sound super pessimistic at first, but it's actually an incredibly powerful tool. He would start his day with this little meditation, not to be a downer, but to be prepared. By expecting people to be flawed, he wasn't shocked or angered when they, were. And the key takeaway here is so simple. If you expect perfection from other people, you are setting yourself up for constant disappointment. But if you expect imperfection, you're setting yourself up for peace. The philosopher Seneca saw the need for other people's approval as a type of slavery. And just think about that for a second. If you're constantly chasing praise, you're basically handing the keys to your own happiness over to someone else. So, the Stoic path is to act based on your own internal principles, your personal code of conduct, not on what other people might think or whether you'll get a round of applause. Okay. This brings us to what might be the single most powerful tool in the entire Stoic toolkit. It's all about owning the space between what happens and how you react. This little gap, this is where your freedom really is. You see, anger, it thrives on immediacy, that instant knee-jerk reaction. But your freedom, it lives in that tiny little pause before you act. That is your moment of power. The trick is to actively create that space. So how do you do it? Super simple. You can pause and just take 3 slow breaths before you say anything, or use a mental cue, something you tell yourself like, this is just noise, or just delay your response, anything to give your rational brain a second to catch up.
And you have to remember that pause is not weakness. It is absolute mastery. When you choose to respond with calm instead of just reacting with rage, you're proving that you can't be controlled by your impulses. This isn't being passive. It's the highest form of self-control.
So let's put this all together. Let's look at the unshakable self you've just started to unlock. It's really just a simple 3-step process to reclaim your call. Step 1, you remember that the external event, it's neutral. It's just a fact, stripped of all meaning. It has 0 inherent power over you. Step 2, you pinpoint the real source of the pain. It's not the event, it's your judgment about the event. You're the one giving it meaning, which means you can choose to give it a different one. And step 3, you use that space, that little gap between stimulus and response. That is your moment of power.
That's where you consciously choose freedom over just being a mindless reflex. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway. The key to your inner peace, it's not out there somewhere. It's right here, inside of you. It is always, and I mean always, your choice. It's never in someone else's hands. So I'll leave you with this thought. The world is gonna keep pushing. Challenges, insults, frustrations, those are guaranteed. But being disturbed by them, that's entirely optional. The choice, as always, is yours.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your custom source, stack your articles, your research, and turn them into, well, something you can actually use.
Exactly. Actionable wisdom.
Today, we are strapping in for a journey into an ancient philosophy. The promise is really nothing less than a modern. And we want the tools, the practical things that let you seize control of your mind no matter what kind of chaos or negativity is roaring outside.
In the whole framework, it's built on this one really unshakable idea.
Which is?
True strength isn't about controlling the world or other people or outcomes. It's about controlling yourself, your own thoughts and your own responses.
So this isn't about suppressing emotion, like just bottling it all up.
No, not at all. The Stoics are teaching you how to master it, how to make it serve you instead of, letting it destroy you.
Okay, let's unpack that foundational idea because it seems like it just dismantles most of the emotional stress we face every day.
It really does. The core Stoic truth, the one you have to write on your heart, it comes from Epictetus.
What does he say?
It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Just think about that for a second.
Okay, so a tough email lands in your inbox or someone makes a snide comment.
Right. The event itself is neutral. Or at least it's finite. It happens, and it's over. What really gets us, what disturbs us, is the story we immediately tell ourselves about it.
And this is where the practice actually begins. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, he drilled this into his own head over and over.
He knew that if you feel distressed by something external, the pain isn't in the thing itself.
It's in your estimate of it, your judgment.
Exactly. And that judgment, he says, you have the power to revoke at any moment.
So that's rule one then. Separate the event from the story you tell about it.
Yes, you have to create that separation. When a car cuts you off in traffic, the event is just a vehicle changed lanes. That's it.
But the judgment is.
The judgment is, that driver is an aggressor. They disrespected me. How dare they? The anger doesn't come from the car. It comes from that internal story you just wrote in a split second.
That's powerful. Because the physical reaction, the anger, it all stems from a story that you didn't even have to write.
You can just pause. You can interrupt that process. You just have to ask yourself, am I upset because of what happened or because of the meaning I just gave it?
And that little bit of space, that's where your power is.
It's everything. The key takeaway here is just brutal self-honesty. Anger doesn't punish the other person.
No, it only punishes you.
It only punishes you. It steals your calm, your focus. The event is over, but you're still sitting there, miserable, until you decide to revoke that judgment.
We just hand over our inner peace so easily. So once we get a handle on that outward anger, we need to build some serious fortifications.
Well, the anti-manipulation shield.
Let's shift to that. The specific habits that make you truly untouchable.
And the Stoics were so specific about this. They knew that manipulation works by exploiting your emotional reactions, your vulnerabilities.
So immunity comes from self-discipline.
A few key habits of self-discipline.
Okay, let's start with the most critical one. Habit one, the strategic pause.
Right, because manipulation, gaslighting, all that stuff, it works best on people who react instantly. They push a button, they expect a reaction.
An emotional hook.
And Epictetus taught that a calm pause breaks every emotional trap. This has to be a physical practice. You feel that pressure, that irritation.
And you force yourself to take 3 deep breaths before you do anything.
Before you speak, before you type, before you act, those few seconds give your rational mind time to come online.
But how do you actually make that a habit? In a high-pressure moment, like an argument with your boss.
You anchor it. When you feel that pressure rising, you stop focusing on their words, and you focus only on the physical feeling of your breath.
So you detach from the content of the conversation.
You attach to your own body. It's your firewall.
I love that. Okay, moving to habit 2. The discipline of silence. We always feel this need to fill every empty space in a conversation.
And the Stoics saw that noise, that chatter, usually reveals insecurity. But silence, measured silence, it reveals intent. It preserves your power.
So if you stay silent more than you speak,
You force the other person to show their hand, to reveal their own intentions, or maybe just their own nervousness. You stop leaking information they can use against you.
Which leads right into habit 3, the danger of over-explanation. This is a huge trap for so many of us.
A massive one. We feel like we owe this detailed justification for every single decision.
Marcus Aurelius warned about this, right?
He did. He said, clarity needs no defense. If your decision is based on sound principles, you don't need to frantically defend it.
So when you're over-explaining a boundary you set, or a choice you made,
You're signaling insecurity. You're handing someone a lever to pull. You just need to state your position calmly. That's it.
that's great in theory, but what about rejecting approval? I mean, so many jobs, so many relationships, they depend on positive feedback.
And that's the tension, right? This isn't about being unprofessional or incompetent. This is habit 4, rejecting approval as your source of self-worth.
So as Seneca said.
Seneca put it so plainly. Dependence on praise is a form of slavery. Freedom begins when approval is no longer needed.
So you do excellent work because you have high standards, not because you're desperate for a pat on the back.
Exactly. Your validation is internal. Your worth is immovable. Then you build on that with habit 5. Act on principles, not pressure.
If your inner structure is solid, the pressure just bounces off.
It creates immovable ground.
Yeah.
When you have your own internal laws like, I won't compromise my integrity, external pressure just doesn't land.
And finally, habit 6, the exit strategy.
Know when to disengage. The strongest move is so often just walking away. No drama, no noise.
Realizing that staying in that conversation is actually optional.
Manipulation just fails completely when its target leaves the room.
That is a very comprehensive set of safeguards. But let's get real. People are still the biggest source of day-to-day frustration.
Absolutely. And Stoicism has an antidote for that, too.
How do you handle the betrayals, the selfishness, the incompetence?
Well, it starts with preparation. Rule 2 is to expect people to be, well, people. Flawed and human. Marcus Aurelius did this in this remarkable way. He'd start his morning by basically listing all the annoying people he was going to meet.
He'd literally say,
The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly.
wow, just think about that. This is the most powerful man in the world, and he's actively setting his expectations that low.
He wasn't being cynical. He was immunizing himself against surprise. If you're surprised by human flaws, you get furious.
If you expect them.
You stay calm and rational. But the reason is the important part. He believed they're this way because they don't know good from evil.
So they're acting out of ignorance, not malice.
Precisely. If I expect the person ahead of me in line to be rude because they're stressed out and just ignorant of a better way to be, I'm not going to be shocked or angry when they snap.
So you reframe their flaws. It's not evil, it's just ignorance. It's like forgiving a child for making a mistake.
That wisdom is the shield. And it brings us to rule 5, handling insults with detachment. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks badly of you, well, they do it because they think they're right.
The words themselves don't hurt you.
It's your interpretation of them, the agreement you give them. That's what causes the pain.
But when someone attacks you, especially online or in a meeting, how do you really achieve that detachment? It's hard not to feel that sting.
You have to remember that insults are almost never about you. They are mirrors.
Reflecting the other person's.
Their own inner turmoil, their bitterness, their fear, their insecurity. When you realize their words are just exposing their lack of control, the words lose all their power.
Marcus Aurelius summed it up perfectly.
Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. You are the gatekeeper.
It's that burning coal analogy, isn't it?
It is. An insult is a burning coal. If you grab it, you're the one who gets burned. If you just let it drop, it can't touch you.
So the focus always has to come back to your own internal controls, which is rule 3.
Master the voice in your head.
This is it. This is where the battle is really won or lost. Because long after the argument is over, that inner dialogue,
One that repeats, this isn't fair, or they should have known better.
that keeps the fire burning. This is what Seneca meant when he said, we suffer more often in imagination